Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Wednesday. It's March 20th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And today was a FOMC announcement day. Obviously, the market really liked what it saw. No change in the rates. Uh, at least they didn't raise them. I mean, we were hoping that they might lower them, but I don't see that they can possibly do that yet. But the good thing is they didn't raise them anymore, so we don't have to worry about rates going up for another quarter, I guess, at least. They did leave the door open to lower them some on the next one, but we'll just have to see. I know they're still having problems with inflation, so you can't believe anything they say. You just got to watch what they do because they'll never tell you the truth. So um, all we can do is watch what happens and go from there. So anyway, you can see the big rally we had. We overshot this green channel. Now that could just mean that we aren't up to the high. It could be that the high's right there, and it does fit there. So if that's the case, we got a little further to go on this green channel. On the gray channel, we're right there at the top of it. And we are back in the overbought territory again. We closed well inside that. So a little more up tomorrow, and this thing, who knows what's going to happen. I just don't see a major correction. We could pull all the way back to this trend line, or this trend line, or this midline. Uh, but I just don't see that lasting very long. I think we're going to continue to the upside, at least through the election. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, there it is on the daily chart. Let's flip over to the intraday chart, take a look at it, and go from there. Okay, here it is. And you can see we started out in this really tight range, fairly low volume, not much happening because everybody's waiting on the news. And then the news comes out and you get this big. You got to be flat an hour before. But the news comes out and we rush upwards. Then we're back down. We're just chopping around. And then all of a sudden we get this spike and go into a channel before we get a break after hours. And then, of course, in the after hours, they took it even higher. So, I mean, we're almost 5,300 now. So more new highs coming in. You can see it there. Big rally day. A lot of trades on here today. I say a lot, but considering we lose a bit over an hour of trading, there's a good many trades considering that. So we did have morning trades and afternoon trades. You had to be a little patient this morning, but we had some trades. So let's zoom in there, but you can clearly see the early range till we broke out, and then we rocketed up here late afternoon, 1:30 or so. It starts rocketing up, and you get a spike in channel, and we get a close outside. I mean, this is like almost 3 o'clock. People just exiting probably. But let's zoom in here. We'll go through the trades, and of course, this is the news. You got to be flat an hour before on this one. We actually had some movement going into this one, but see how it starts doing this till right before the news comes out. Well, sometimes it'll do that for an hour or so before. So you got to be flat an hour before to make sure you don't get stuck in something like that. And so that's my recommendation. That's the way I play it. I've never trade after lunch, after 12 noon Central Standard Time, because the news comes out at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. And so I never trade past 12 noon on these type days. I wait. So anyway, let's zoom in here, go through the trades. But you can see 7 o'clock came right in here as we're topping out. This bar actually closes at 7:06. So this was the first trade. This was actually a second entry short when it went past it. I'd wait for this one to close, and then you could go short one tick below it. There's still plenty of room back to the EMA. That's a good trade right out of the gate that runs on down to the lows. You don't get a setup down here to go long, unfortunately. Then we're running back up, and notice what happens. You get a first entry with a close outside, move to a new high. And so it's a second entry short below that one. I made this green a couple of reasons. One, we're not quite back up to the last high, and the second reason was generally it's better to wait on the lower high, which doesn't come down till down here. Now, that's not a whole lot of room, but generally I like to see the lower high closer to the last high than this. I feel like this is just at the border. I marked it green because it is a pullback to test the EMA too, and there's room to get out there before this low. So I marked it green, but I'm not crazy about it just because of how it sets up and where it sets up. But there's reasons to like that trade. So um, it's close to being a lower high, just not quite there. But anyway, run on down, and now you get at least a triple test. You probably call this a quadruple test. And nice bullish signal bar way away from the EMA. Go long right there. You probably don't get anything but a scalp, but it's a quick, easy one. Comes back, tests the lows again, but you don't get a setup. And then we're just moving higher here. This one was tempting, but again, it's just a first entry and you're going long above a 2-bar matching high, and it looks a little congested too because there's not much body here. A little good bit of stem there as well. But if you're patient, a few minutes later you get a first entry, pull back, and when it breaks above, there's second entry. And that turns out to be a nice trade. It turns back down at that midline though and bounces again, but I just don't see any way you can go long right there, right into the midline on a first entry. It turns out to be a great move. And then of course it fails on the breakout here. And again, I marked this green. They're so far away from the EMA. There is a big overshoot here in my opinion. And so I like that one. I marked it green because you're better off to always, I say this and people don't seem to hear it, you're always better off to wait on a lower high if you get a breakout here or a higher high or something. It doesn't mean you have to, but if you take it and it fails, then you know you should have waited on a lower high. And so it just depends on the circumstance. Look how far away we are from the EMA. Most all breakouts fail. It's a fairly bearish bar. It's a probably well overdone move up. A lot of reasons to like that one. Just to try to ride it back, just to ride it back to the EMA is, I mean, that's over 3 points right there. This thing just keeps dropping. You probably get 5 or 6 points out of it. And of course, it bounces here. And technically, that's the first close outside this channel. But we did have an overshoot. But still, sometimes you'll still get a retest. You don't always just reverse on an overshoot. And it looks like we get a retest. And you can see this is still in the channel. So, in my opinion, you had to wait. But then you get a first entry, second entry, and there's a triple test right there and a big bearish bar. I like going short there. You're probably headed to the other side now. Sure enough, it runs down. You get a break, 2 legs to a new low. It does bounce a little early, but I like going long there. I did mark it green because it's a little aggressive, but you clearly got a break and 2 legs to a new low. You're a little ways away from the EMA. You got a decent signal bar. Yeah, it could come lower, so for that reason, I, marked it green. If it'd been right on the support line, I'd have marked that one blue. And that takes you into the news item when you got to sit tight. And we come out of that looking more normal about 10 after or so. Let's see when this bar closed. Yeah, about 10 after. And this runs up and you get a first entry. It pulls back again and turns back down. It breaks higher and fails and turns down. So when it goes past that, that's a second entry short. And it's all off that key entry point. I like, you could go short on the engulfing bar on that, but most of you are better to wait, let that close, and then go short. You could take that one either way, really. And notice how we come up short of the other side, and then we come up short again. It means we might get a break, and sure enough, we do. You get a channel up, you get a close outside, and move to a new high. And again, it breaks higher and fails and turns down. Uh, you could probably trade that. Being that far away from the EMA, that's going to give it momentum to just, and you notice how it just moves over and keeps going. Um, I like that one. You could enter it on the engulfing bar. You could wait till it closes. And there are two legs down in a bounce. You get a break, two legs down to a new low. No signal bar there, nothing here. And then quickly you get a second entry short with a nice signal bar. I like going long right there. And then we come up short. You get a close outside. Can't trade that. Signal bar is no good. It's just a first entry. And it takes on off up to a new high. And then from there we correct. We really correct all the way over to here. I'd say that's about 30 minutes worth. Um, whew. But there it is. Not much else we can say about it today. Um, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow, wrap up our week tomorrow. Believe it or not, tomorrow's Thursday, another week gone by. Time just flies by. But anyway, I hope you had a good trading day. Hope you made some money today. We'll come back and do it again tomorrow. I'm done for today, though. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.